This is why I hate static PDF checklists. They're garbage. I'm going to show you how to cut your local business prospecting down to 3 minutes with Google and Cloud APIs using a WordPress website to generate reports that will do the talking for you. And with each business scan your website generates, your WordPress database is going to accumulate market knowledge that nobody else has. And owning the data that you paid for is a closer step towards tech sovereignty. By the end of this video, you'll know how to install the freaking Insights plugin, how to create and manage your Claude and Google API keys, and how to run your first business scan. This is a free plugin. The only thing that you pay for are going to be your API costs. You pay Google and Cloud directly because I don't throttle your tokens, I don't meter your usage, I don't bundle them up. And if you're a too long didn't read, I included some chapter links in the description so you can just jump to what you need. First things first, let's install the plugin and then activate it so that we can start setting up our APIs. Now that the plugin has been activated, I can see at the top that it's saying that I need to set up my API keys. So it's going to take me to Settings, API Config. I have instructions for you if you've never done this before and have no idea how to do it. Don't worry about it. It's all step by step. The first thing we're going to do is that we're going to go to Google Cloud to set up our APIs. And because I've already set this before, I already have my welcome screen. If you don't have an account, it's like creating your Gmail. Just follow the steps. You'll be good to go. Just make sure you are aware which account you're selecting. Another thing to note that if you're a new user, you have to create a new project. And if you don't have a new project, you're more than likely going to see it here at the top. I already have mine, so it's already there. But if you don't, you're going to look for a new project, create a new project name. Don't worry about the organization, hit create, and you're good to go. And then the other thing that you want to make sure is that you want to enable billing if you've never been here before, because the reason that you want to have this set up is that if you don't have it, Google's not going to let you set up and enable your API services. So just make sure that you do. So once you have that set up, let's go back to our instructions, and it's asking to enable the required APIs. I have all four. You just copy them, and then you're going to go to your sidebar. We're going to go to APIs and services, and we're going to go through the library. From the library, I'm going to paste it, or you can start typing it. You select it, you pick it, and then you're going to enable it. I already have it enabled, so there's nothing else for me to do other than just go through the other three and make sure that you enable those as well. Now that we have those set up, we're going to actually create the API. So let's go back to your sidebar and go to APIs and services, and then hit credentials. Here you can see that I already have some set up. If you're new to this, you're going to go to the top and create credentials, select API key, name your API, and then go down to the 4 APIs that you had selected to enable those. And here you're going to set your application restrictions to none. I'm not going to explain it. I have an explanation here. You can do it on your own time. But the important thing is to not have any restrictions because they're going to be restricted by the API services themselves. So when you have that set up, just hit create. You'll be good to go. You're going to go to show key. You're going to copy that key and then go down here and paste them. Check and test your connection. You should be good to go. It's just going to phone home and make sure that everything's okay. If not, these are the top 3 reasons as to why usually it's not working. So just make sure that you are getting this correctly before you moan and groan that it doesn't work. Once we have that, we're good with Google's APIs. Now we're going to go to Claude. Click the console link, and it's going to take you to their platform. If you're new to it, you don't have an account, same deal like your Gmail. It's just whatever account it is that you want to use, just use that, but just make sure that you put your billing information. And the thing about billing is that you're able to set a high and a low threshold. High so that you set a cap to your budget and it doesn't go over. Low so that if you're running low on credits, you're able to top it off with a minimum. And the minimum is always going to be $5, or it's $5 as of the recording of this video. And once you have that, you're able to get your API key. You're going to create your key, name your key, add it, and then copy it immediately because Claude is not going to remind you. Once you have that, you go back to your settings, you paste it, and then you test this connection. We're good to go. And then now we're going to look at the report model. The report model is very simple. You have your smart, smarter, and smartest. Smart being the one that uses up the least amount of tokens, smartest being it uses up the most. What's the use case scenario of using Claude Opus 4 as opposed to Haiku? There's going to be reasons where Haiku is meant more for that mixed general public site visitors, these campaigns where you don't really know the traffic that's coming in. You're trying to get an intended audience, but you don't know for sure. The instance where you want to use Opus is maybe you had an email newsletter campaign, like a training series, or you've done in-person seminars, or you're doing them side by side with the client. They're looking at it. This might be a higher stakes project, a bigger budget, more. There might be more skin in the game. So you really want to use a more robust model for that specific client or that specific project. Other than that, I would just keep it on Haiku. Now that we have our API set up and the model that we want to be using, we have to publish it on some pages. And I say some because there's at least two that we want to have, and I'm going to explain it why. Let's first go to the homepage. And here I am using Gutenberg, the very generic WordPress theme. And just a quick word about themes. You can use Divi, Elementor, Astra, whatever theme you're already working with. What's more important is that whatever text editor you're using when you're pasting the shortcode or typing it, make sure that you look at it in code mode so that it's not adding any extra layout styling or any extra CSS or inline CSS. Make sure that it's just a clean short code. And why can I type? And it just says F Insights, and you will save that and be good to go. Now that you have the primary scanner, we're going to create a secondary one. So we're going to go back and create a new page. Gutenberg being a pick me girl as always. And let's type out the short code again. All right. So a few reasons as to why you want to have two of these. You don't have to, but the reason this is helpful is that you're able to segment your traffic from your first time visitors versus the returning ones. And the reason that you want this is because you might want to set up campaigns for it. Whenever you have your paid ad campaigns, like for example, Meta, you're able to set your pixels for your first time viewers versus the returning ones. So you can set up different follow ups according to whatever campaign that it is that you're trying to make. And you also may want to set up your Google Analytics. You might want to set up heat maps. And it's just, I just like to keep things separate. I am going to go back to my F Insight settings. And then under the short code, I am going to select my scanner page for the one that I called scanner. And I'm going to save that. So now I am going to open this homepage that I had created. And I'm going to open it in incognito mode so that you can see the notifications tab of the web browser asking permission to be able to record your location. And the reason that you want to enable this, I don't know how your users might behave towards it, but the way this is important or helpful is that when you set the localization to the web browser from the site visitor, is that when they select a business name, it's going to start in that area first. If you do not allow this, then and you have a generic name for a business name and you're in Washington, D.C., it might pick it up anywhere in the United States where that name is also going to match. And that might be useful to some people. I really don't know why. I'm not interested. The reason I'm designing this is to help local businesses that are local to you or local to the person who is making that search. So, anyway, we're going to allow it and then we're going to do a scan on the business. And so, I should have prepared this ahead of time. So, let me just go to Google Maps and let's just check out a few businesses. National Museum of Health. No, I don't want to look at that. Let's look. Where don't I go? What's in the East End? Oh, the Dubliner restaurant. All right, let's look at the Dubliner or Dubliner. I don't know. I don't know why I said it like that. Let me just copy this, copy that, and go back into it, paste it, and it recognizes. Oh, there's good on you. They have a few of them. Which one? All right, let's do the one on F Street. Oh no, this is also another one in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, see what I mean? The first one that showed up was in Washington, D.C., and then there's another one that has a similar name that is in Phoenix, Arizona. But I want to see the one in Washington, D.C. So let's check this one out. All right, so this is my fork in the road. This takes up to 3 minutes. And the reason it takes up 3 minutes is because it's looking at a website, it's scanning how long it takes to load that website, it's looking at a few components like your H tags, your text tags, your listings, how you link it. And it's just trying to relay how quick or slow the website will load. For SEO experts, you can do this on your own on web page speed insights, and this just consolidates that. That's what this is. It's a consolidated effort of you going through other resources, going through the businesses reviews, photos, what they're saying about them, if they're talking shit about them. This will just consolidate it, organize it, categorize it, and then add a humanized layer so that it's not going to have any technical jargon for your end users as they're reviewing it. My issue is that this definitely beats the 30 minutes or so that it takes to do this manually down to 3 minutes. But the roadblock is that if I make it go any faster, it's going to take up more tokens, right? And what I don't want to do is I don't want to make this very expensive per report, or maybe you do. So, my question to you as a potential user is, would you like a toggle or a lever that lets you decide how quickly you want these reports to be scanned, but understand that it's going to take up more tokens? Anyway, let's table that conversation for now. In the meantime, I can see that I have an overall score. I have an overview about what this restaurant is. I have the location, and I have a few shots, photos that the API picked up. I also see that I have some data on the way that the website performs on a mobile device versus a desktop. I see that it gives me a list of that performance, and it has a few humanized sentences that it reads like how you would talk to a person. If you go to the regular page speed insights, you're going to have more jargon. And I just think this is a better experience. And like I said, you might be an SEO expert, you might be a web designer, a web developer, user experience designer, a marketer. I don't know what type of web services you provide, but if you're dealing with local businesses, you have plenty of data to slice and dice and see how it is that you feel most comfortable in approaching that prospect and potentially making them a client. So when the end user is seeing this information, or better yet, when you're sitting next to them or sharing a screen and going through these sections, it is not you saying, this is what your website is. This is the audit. This is how your how your business shows up online. This is what Google understands to be true about your business currently. And there might be some false positives, which I'll tell you what those are. And let's just click through a few of these. You can see the things are being organized. We can look at customer reviews. We can see if they're talking shit about you or whoever is the owner of that business, and have conversations around that. See what sort of campaigns need to start, how it is that you can mitigate or address whenever you have someone that is just not a happy camper. Anywho, next one up is photos and media. All right, quick note on the photos. The photos, it might sometimes say there's barely 10 or maybe not even 20. And then you go look at the at Google itself and you see there's hundreds of pictures. The main difference of the photos that the plugin is talking about is that these are account owner uploads. And the reason this is important is because Google wants to know that the business is active, that they care about how they show up online. So they themselves are the ones uploading pictures. It's not just the selfies people are taking at your location or pictures of their food if we're doing more restaurants. All right. This is to give signals to Google that you give a shit about what this place is. And then a few other things, business information. Here, for example, with amenities and attributes, it's more so to do a litmus test of, is this account optimizing the features that they have to show up better for the people that want to know certain information, specific information about that location. One of the things that you want to do on Google Business is you want to eliminate surprises, even good ones. You want to give them as much context as possible to understand what it is that they're getting into before they make that decision. Um, let's go to the next step, competition. Competition is pretty cool, other than it's giving you an insight to what their strengths, what their pain points, and what opportunities you may have. Now, let's talk a note about false positives. A false positive is that a restaurant, let's say it's Japanese cuisine, and you're looking up a Japanese restaurant, and suddenly Chipotle, TGI Fridays, or other generic American brands are showing up, and you as the end user or the owner or whoever is running the scan will try to call bullshit. And the thing that might actually be happening is that this is Google reading how this account is set up. If you're a niche cuisine showing up with generic American restaurants, that is kind of a signal that this account is not properly optimized. And this is an opportunity for you to sell that fulfillment service of doing a specific audit to that specific business. And now you have more trust, or hopefully, because they're able to see that there's a bunch of data about the specific business that you're the one bringing to the table. And I think a better approach to use this is that you have your competitors that say, I help you grow your business. I bring you more customers. I help you from blah, 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 blah. All right. It's all bullshit. It might be true. It's still bullshit to me because I don't know you. But once you approach someone with data and metrics, and there's going to be some things that they're going to go like, yeah, we've been experiencing that. Or like, oh, we never thought it was because of so and so, or like, oh, that makes sense because blah, 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 blah. You have the opportunity to not be the coldest outreach if you don't know this person, because you have something that they need, or hopefully that the pain is big enough for them to want to talk to you, and you can close the deal. All right, let's see. Local SEO, more on the GBP, an overview about it. And then this one is just nice to have, especially when you are doing an audit with your prospect, your client sitting next to you, or again via Zoom, is that you're able to have a list of actionable things to do. This is why I hate static PDF checklists. They're garbage. It's just bullshit. It's shit that you can find on your own, or maybe I'm just being arrogant about it. What's cool about this is that this checklist is specific to that end user, to that specific account that they're looking to get some quick wins. This is low-hanging fruit, and I don't know, it just makes good business sense to me. Now, let's talk about what makes the report dope. So, once you have an end user or you yourself who has scanned a business, now you want to share this report. Who do you want to share this report with? And end user might want to share it with other internal stakeholders, maybe co-founders, co-partners, maybe their in-house design team, their developers, you probably talk to you later, or they just want to check it out later when they have more time. And the other thing is that they're able to share this report so they don't have to wait the 3 minutes all over again. They don't have to use up your tokens, and they just get to it sooner rather than later. But more importantly, when you copy it and then you go onto a new tab, paste it, a few things. One, you can see that I have the other page that we created called Scanner. Now we have another page where you can set up your metapixel for campaign metrics on how to follow up with them, and just to see that if they're returning to it, they're going to be a higher intent, and you can just follow up with them outside of the platform, however it is that you want to do it. But the other thing that's more important is that there is a default expiration date of 6 days or a week. And the reason that I designed this way is for a few obvious reasons. One, this is a dynamic report. What's true about this report today is not going to be true about it 30 days from now. The other part is, because of this, you want to keep that momentum going. You want to keep that pain memorable enough for them to act sooner rather than later. You want to create that FOMO without being sleazy about it. And that's it. We're done. That's how you generate a report using Claude, Google on your WordPress site. And the only thing that you're paying for are the tokens in the billing that you set up so that you can make those calls between your database and the APIs themselves. Again, I don't touch this information. This is your information. This is your data. In other videos, I'm going to show you with the premium features how you are able to leverage that market intelligence. So we're done. You're good to go. If you want to stick around, I can show you what the other settings look like and what they do. They are not urgent, but they are important to know. So let's go through a few of them. The first one up is your cache. So the cache is because your tokens are precious, and I am aware of that. I'm cognizant of that. And whenever you have someone that ran a scan, lost the link for whatever reason, they're going to scan it again. You can set however many days or hours you want to save that page. And so you want to save on your tokens, you don't want to run it again. And but then the other thing is, if you go more than 24 hours, which is a recommendation, is that a few things could change about that business, drastic things. I don't know, but just a good rule of thumb is just to keep it at 24. The other part is that you can set a radius for how far you want Google to search. By default, I think it's 15 miles that Google does typically, and then also for like hospitality with restaurants and bars, it usually doesn't go more than 8 miles because that's kind of the standard that DoorDash and Uber drivers go as far, because anything farther than that is just taking longer to deliver food if that's what they do, and then the food is not as crispy or fresh, or I don't know, whatever. And then the expiration date for the link. Again, a week I think is a good sweet spot, but then you can go up to a month. And then, for whatever reason, you can just clear your cache and then run these scans fresh and use up your tokens again. Rate limiting. All right, this one's pretty cool for a few reasons. The good reasons is that you have people that are coming back to your website because they want to run a few more scans. They might be the business owner who has multiple locations. They have several competitors that they want to do more in-depth scans on their own businesses, and it's cool that they're into it, but also you might want to sort of put a cap on that so they're not just using all of your tokens just on this person. And whenever it is that they go past that limit, here, for example, if I enable it, I have 3 scans per IP. And then if they go past that, they're going to have a little text, a little alert that says, like, oh, hey, you have to wait 23 more minutes until your next scan. And that's from the first scan that they did. And then here you can set up your windows for however long you want them to wait. And if they're coming back, Google loves that shit. It means that your bounce rates are lowered and there's returning visitors. And then Google is going to take note of this and it's going to bubble you up in these search results when people are looking for like a business like yours. The other part that I'm trying to do, I don't know how efficient this one is. What I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to keep track of how many tokens are being generated or used up each time you generate a report. However, the gap in this is that for whatever reason, you might switch APIs, you might forget to set this, and it's just going to keep going. It doesn't account for specific APIs and its use. It's just taking overall use. So if you're not sure how far along you are, you can link directly to your account, and it's going to take to your the account that you set up earlier, and it's going to tell you about your token use. And the last setting on the FN sites for free users is going to be the IP exclusions. This one is important for two reasons, in that you are going to scan businesses on the front end sometimes, and what you don't want to do is that you don't want to conflate your own initial research into your prospects with what your public is searching, because this is going to feed into your market intelligence that I'm going to show you in the next video. And you just don't you want to be able to separate your own initial research or ongoing research and what your visitors are going through. So one of the things that I've done is that I've added the ability for you to exclude your own IP. And the reason that I have a few here is that sometimes your service provider is going to slightly change what connection they are using to connect your IP address. So if you see a new one, just add it to it, save it. It doesn't make a huge difference if you just leave the other ones. It's just really more so for you not having to go back here, enabling and disabling each time that you want to be testing your scans. And more importantly, that if you ever decide to upgrade to the premium account, that you are not conflating your own research into the what the market is looking into. Because what I want you to be able to publish are going to be organic articles, white paper reports, and market intelligence that is specific to how your users are behaving. And so now we get to go to the other settings in the debug logs. A lot of you are technical professionals as web designers, web developers, user experience designers. And so here I want to give you the opportunity to have your debug log. You're able to set different granularity. If you're ever having issues or you're uploading your bulk scanner, it's not working out, here it's going to tell you why that is or what's going on with your token use. And you can go in through your cPanel, fix it yourself, or you can just download the log, shoot me a message, and I'll help you as best I can. And then now I want to bring your attention to, I think it's one of the more, it definitely is one of the more boring pages, but it's super important. And this page is the reason that I wanted to do this. I wanted to create this tool to begin with. And the use case scenario for this, a few obvious ones, is that for whatever reason, at some point you will want to cancel, you don't want to use the update anymore, you upgrade it, then cancel that, or paid the premium and then didn't renew. Whatever reason it is that you're walking away from this, you get to keep every single data point that you had already bought through your APIs, through the credits that you were using. And this is just a 180 from the current SaaS models that are available in the market. And I just think it's bullshit for you to pay for your token use, leave, and then that data stays gated with whatever platform you were using. Here you have the ability to export your scans, your leads, and all the reports that you've done. You're able to remove the plugin and keep your data in your WordPress database and just let it hang out if you ever want it, need it. I don't know. This is content you already bought. This is yours to use however it is that you see fit. Or you're able to go into your PHP MyAdmin, and you're gonna see your tables are still there. Your data is still gonna be there. Or third, you might want to go nuclear and start all over again. You're able to wipe all your data, clean your MySQL, and just start from the very beginning. And I think that this is what ownership looks like. You're able to do whatever the fuck you want to do with the data that you already purchased. It's yours. And so I will definitely try to improve the workflow for this. But again, and I know like that I sound like a broken record, but this is what gets us closer to tech sovereignty so that we're not reliant and coerced into these platforms. They get too big and then they think they're too big to fail or they're too big for us to want to leave. And this is what real agency looks like in the techno feudal landscape. So, in solidarity, gracias. This video was way longer than I intended. This is my first real video for Freaking Insights, and I'm going to be creating more to show you and teach you the different ways that you could be using this very dynamic plugin. And if you can subscribe to this channel, it would be a great signal for me to keep going, creating more videos and further develop this plugin. I have a few other bundled plugins where I want to combine quantitative data, which is what Freaking Insights is about. And I'm also developing a qualitative data, which delves more into the branding aspects and using it as a baseboard, sounding board when you're talking to your prospects to identify where it is that they might have reached a plateau in the way they perceive themselves, their brand, and the way the public is responding to it. So if you enjoy this, please subscribe. I need the encouragement. and I'll see you around.